I think we're going to get started. I wonder if you want to open. We'll open with the lay minister's prayer, but led by Tom, Reverend Tom. It's on the reverse. It's on the back of your agenda, which I don't think it's all there.
There.
Oh no, it's at the front.
Okay. So it's all on this one. And let us pray. Loving and eternal God, who through your Son, Jesus Christ, calls your people and sends them forth to witness and serve in your name, bless each member of the Licensed Lay Ministers Association of this diocese. Give us grace that we, walking in the footsteps of your Son, and being filled and strengthened by your Holy Spirit, may serve you and your church as faithful stewards in the ministry to which we are called, and by our example, enable others to know and love you through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
And attendance, we have, I believe, 30 people in attendance here today, which is wonderful. We have an additional 8 that were registered for online. There may be more than that, or we're not exactly sure at this moment, but there were a number of people that were going to join us online. We had 16 regrets, and we did have regrets from David Harrison. He is online joining us, but he was unwell and unable to attend. He's the current president of the association. So unfortunately, he wasn't able to be here, and he is our tech expert. He usually does all our live streaming, but fortunately, Gail was able to step in and help us out today. Thank you very much, Gail. Any questions about that? Okay. Oh, absolutely. I'm Barb Bergeron. I'm the current vice president of the association.
And I'm Archdeacon Tom Henderson, and I'm the warden of Licensed Lay Ministers.
And I'm Maxine Simkin, and I'm the secretary of the association.
Does everybody have a copy of the agenda or access to a copy? Does anybody have anything to add to the agenda?
We'll do that. We'll look after that later.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll kind of take that back to the executive group. And, yeah. Okay, so I guess we need to move approval of the agenda. Would somebody like to move approval of the agenda?
I so move.
Moved and seconded. Did you get you?
So
Yeah,
Tim,
okay,
Tim
yeah.
McDonald and
Yeah. Approval of the minutes of June 11th last year. They were sent down online. We didn't print copies for everybody. I'm hoping that people have taken the time to read through them. I don't know if there were any errors or omissions. They look good to me, and Victoria is not here. She did the minutes last year, but she's unwell, so. Would somebody like to move approval of the minutes? Lois, moved approval, yeah. And a seconder?
David.
Dave Spencer. All in favor? Business arising from the June 11th minutes, there's not much to carry over. The only thing would be the discussion of the fall conference, and as most of you would be aware, we were ready to hit the bridge heading to PEI last year when Fiona decided to arrive. So we ended up having to cancel, which was very unfortunate because it would have been the first conference together in person in a number of years. So we're hoping that we will be able to have it this year in the same location, and the dates for this year are the weekend of September 22nd to 24th. So keep those dates in mind. There'll be more information coming out in the Diaconia later on, and we'll send out some messages about that. It is really about a 2-day conference, starts Friday evening, runs through till the Eucharist, I believe, on Sunday morning, and so most of the conference time is actually on Saturday. It will be relatively affordable because not having had a conference last year, we do have some money, so we're able to help pay for people to come. So but there will still be a small charge. So more information about that will be coming out in the next few months. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Correspondence. I don't know of any correspondence that we've had, no, so. No. Reports. So we did not print copies of all the reports. They did come out in the Diaconia. So if anybody has any questions about the reports, unfortunately, David's not here to speak to his, but Tom is here. In the interest of saving trees, we opted not to print all the reports as they had come out previously. And the president of the association, it was Tom's farewell address, I believe, because he will be, or David, sorry, yeah, not yours. David is finished as president after this meeting. Board of Standards report. Is there?
Much of the past year, the Board of Standards, we've been just more or less looking at some of the questions we'll be looking at this afternoon regarding the future role of licensed lay ministers. Right now, we put together, one of the developments was that we finished the syllabus that was accompanying the videos, online videos. So at least we have a write-up that is associated with each of the videos, and various people that were part of the Board of Standards took part in that. And so I appreciate all the effort that went into kind of giving a synopsis of the different presenters. The other thing that I just want to mention is that right now there's usually a second clergy that's on the Board of Standards, and the clergy that was on the Board of Standards has resigned, and that's a bishop appointment, and that second appointment hasn't taken place just yet. But otherwise, the Board of Standards is basically myself, a second clergy, the president, vice president, and past president, and and 3 other people that are elected from this group, and the treasurer, I think, yeah. And basically what the Board of Standards does is that we look at the Constitution, the rules, and all the kind of the fine details that go into that, into making this association run.
The other report is the Diaconia report. Now, our Gail Texera, who's in our booth over there doing our online streaming, is now the editor for the Diaconia. She is very new. She just did one recent one that you saw come out. So we are very excited to have her on board. As we were for a while, we didn't have one, so it kind of slowed down information going out to members. So we won't have a formal report from her this year. So should we move the reports? Yeah. Would somebody like to move acceptance of the reports? John and Dennis. And now we'll have our treasurer's report. Oh, sorry. All in favor? Oh. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Just to let you know that anything that is spoken from the floor is not being heard.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Gail. Okay, so we just had one of the members from the floor, I'm sorry, what's your name? What is it? Lida, mentioned that last year for the fall conference, the mailing address for the checks was incorrect, so we'll just have to make sure that that's correct. They should be going to Lois. So that was the checks for the fall conference? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, Lida. I didn't even realize that we had the wrong address on that, so.
No.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. It's probably a good thing that this conference didn't happen then.
To the bathroom.
So we will have the treasurer's report. Now, I realize that we don't have, they were sent out ahead of time, don't have copies of the final last year's report and the review of the books. They were sent out, so hopefully people have seen them, but oh, the one that Lois had, yeah, somebody's picked that up. We didn't make copies of all that, yeah. So did you guys want to start, you can start reviewing the financial reports? Does that come up this way? Yeah. Should come up this way. There we go.
Oh, sure, yes, thank you, Linda. Yep. Thank you, Linda.
Should have worn my heels. Hello, everyone. It's Linda Mercier. I'm speaking on behalf of my mother, Lois Durant, to review the books for you. We'll start with the financial report of last year, April 1st, 2022. And as assigned last year, we were changing our year end, and so we've made it December 31st, 2022. Our end bank balance for last year was $8,697.15. The books were finalized with an accountant and signed off, so everything balanced that way. I'm assuming most people read the report. So then I'll move on to B. Pardon me?
Yes, I think it was just a typo. It's
Sorry,
right
say
on the
that?
bottom line, it says, book balance December 31, 2011. It should say 2021.
On that's, we're talking last year's?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I don't have that copy in front of me.
Yeah.
Okay, that definitely a typo
Yeah.
error. Yeah, it was signed off for 21. Sorry, 22. 22.
Yes, 22.
Any other questions?
You want to move for the adoption of the financials?
Okay, well, do you want to do the whole thing together, or do you want to
Lois,
I thought maybe we could do them all at the same time,
Okay.
the financial report.
do it all together, eh? Yeah, okay. So let's move on to the review of the books. So we'll go with the January 1st, 2023 to the current one that we'll be reviewing. Books, and that one, we again started out with a bank balance of $8,697.15, Really, we had only memberships to record as well as one invoice for web maintenance. And so our existing bank balance right now is $10,959.27. We still need to take away the $66.34 eventually from that, but that's our current balance, all right, in the bank. And that's current as of June the 8th, so 2 days ago. It's quite current. All right, and then we'll move on to let me just double check for you. Yeah, we'll move on to our proposed budget for this year.
Yeah, I think we should vote on the financial reports and then do the budget.
And then do a separate vote for that?
So,
Okay.
Lois, would you like to move the acceptance of financial report? Can we have a seconder? Ted, second. All in favor? Contrary minded? Sorry, I haven't chaired a meeting for a while. Okay, and so then the budget. Yeah.
And so then we'll move on to the budget, or proposed budget. And so again, we're starting with that same balance. Our membership might be a little smaller, just than we proposed here of 4,000. We're currently at 2,400 with the membership. And we normally get the bulk in the spring, so that might be a little shy of that. Otherwise, everything else seems to be online. Annual conference should be a little heavy with that number, so we'll be pretty good. And the annual fall conference, we estimated an 8,000 for it. I think we'll be pretty much bang on with that one. Our medallions at this point seem to be fairly online with that amount as well. So I think this budget is fairly accurate as per what we've seen in the last 6 months so far. All right. So with this proposed budget, we should still have in the bank somewhere around that 3,397.15 mark. Albeit with the membership, we might be shy. I'm going to say probably maybe 500 less than that by the end of the year. All right, so we'll probably have somewhere around $2,800 in the bank at that point.
Are there any questions about the budget? Okay. Lois, would you like to move acceptance of the budget for 2023? And a seconder? John, is that? Oh, yeah, okay. All in favor? John, Lois moved the budget acceptance, and John seconded it. All in favor? Contrary minded? The next item on the list is the appointment of an individual to review the books for 2023. I think you have access to, you had access to somebody to review the books the last couple of years.
Oh, yes, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were speaking with me. Yes, I have an accountant, professor, actually. She's currently still practicing, and Nicola Young is her name. And she has been doing it for the last 2 years, gratis, which works out wonderfully for us, and a very competent person doing it, so.
So, does anybody have any concerns about that? It is obviously a neutral third party if we're and which is what we need to review the book. So if everybody is in agreement with that, should we move that one, or? Yeah. Okay, we'll move appointment of Nicola Young as the reviewer for the books for 2023. Can I get a seconder on that? Walter Westwood? What's that? I just moved it. Yeah. And all in favor? Contrary minded? Okay. Okay, we're moving on to elections. Now, this is a big year for elections because a lot of the terms are 2 years, and we've come to the end of those 2 years. So David had stepped in 2 years ago as president, and his 2 years is up. So I think normally the vice president steps into the president role unless there's somebody that really, really wants to do it, then. And then once I move into if I move into that role, then we would obviously need to elect a new vice president. David would stay on as past president for the next couple of years. So do we just?
Yeah, actually, we'll do the whole slate of candidates.
Okay.
Yeah, so do we have any nominations for vice president?
I would like to nominate Maxine for vice president. Which also will add secretary to our list of elections if she is successful.
Are you willing?
Oh, yeah.
And Maxine has indicated that she is willing to step in the role of vice president, which means that now we'll be looking for a nomination for a secretary.
I do have one of those.
Yes.
Cheryl Murphy is not here today. She wasn't able to attend, but she has indicated an interest in the secretary position. Unless, if there's anybody else that's interested, we would be quite happy to have a vote. So are there any other people interested in president, vice president, or secretary, or have any nominations for those roles?
I move nominated.
Thank you, Ted. So unless there's something coming in online, which I think Gail would probably be giving us a high sign. No, everything's good. So I guess that makes me president, Maxine is vice president, and I will give Cheryl the news that she is the secretary. Murphy, Cheryl Murphy, yeah. She's a licensed lay minister here at St. Andrews, I believe, yeah. Yeah. Sherryl, yeah. Double L, 1 R, 2 L, yeah.
How's that spelled?
Eryll, yeah. So Lois has been our treasurer for the past 2 years with the assistance of her daughter Linda, which we've really appreciated because that role had been vacant and needed to be filled. Is anybody interested in that role? I believe Lois is willing to stay on in that role, yeah. But if there's anybody else that's interested, we would be. And again, crickets. Okay. Well, Lois, I think that you will be here with us for a couple more years.
At least one more year.
Yeah. Okay, so that takes us to area representatives. I have Northumbria on here, but I think somebody had taken that. That was the one that was vacant before. Is there Karen Young, maybe? Somebody? Nancy McDonald. Okay, so she had, yeah, okay, so she, I don't know where I got Karen Young from. So Nancy McDonald. So I don't know if there are any vacant, so we need somebody for Fort Sackville.
Is there anybody here from Fort Sackville?
Just you? No. Okay.
Are you from here?
Would you be willing to consider that, Walter? Do you send emails? And you can do it.
I'm there for you, Walter. It really, the only big requirement is to stay in contact with the lay ministers in Fort Sackville. And for the Diaconia magazine, should there be something you'd like to write, or something's coming up, we could write it in there. So I can help.
Okay. So that does move you into the executive meetings that we have quarterly as a representative. So, what's that? Yeah, those meetings are all online. So Walter, we'll make sure that you get the information for the meetings going forward. Okay. Westwood.
Yeah, that's Walter Westwood.
And I think, do we have his email address? Okay, all right.
So is it going to be
Yeah.
motion?
So would we normally do that? Yeah.
For we would have to move it second that.
Do we need to do it for all of them? No?
And what about us?
Yeah.
No, he closed nominations.
Okay, so that would be, okay,
Yeah, so we're just moving on to a regional rep for Fort Sac.
okay.
Which is a separate item.
So if there's nobody else jumping up and down to do Fort Sackville? Would somebody like to make a motion to close the nominations for Fort Sackville? For the area representative? And yeah.
Who's and the lady that's with Walter?
Yeah, that's Alana.
Alana, okay, so she can move that, and seconded by, okay.
Very good.
I did.
By, any last name on this? Miller?
And your name? Yeah. Alana as well.
Yeah, Maxine knows her, I guess, so, yeah. Okay, all in favor? Okay, so that is the new executive. We would like to meet briefly after this, after the events of this afternoon, if possible, just to have a quick meeting, since we normally wouldn't meet now until September. So any executive members that are here, if you could hang around for a few minutes afterwards, it'll be a quick meeting. And elections are finished. New business. Does anybody have any new business? It's going to be a short meeting. Yeah. Okay. Members' concerns. Do you want to come up to the microphone? Because, oh yeah, you can go to the one over there, yeah.
My name is Claire McGinnis. I'm here from St. Luke's Hubbards. One of my concerns is on the back of our license are I forget if it's called rules or regulations or how we're supposed to perform our duties. My concern is that it's become very restrictive. And I would like to see those looked at to see, because our scope is increasing. And if you have a rector that sticks very closely to what's on the back there, then we are restricted in what we can do. So I would like to see that looked at, and I'm willing to be on a committee or whatever to look at the back of the license.
I think, yeah, okay, Tom, you take that.
What would appear on the back of the license is basically outlined in our handbook and whatnot, and that would fall under the purview of the Board of Standards. Basically, and much of our discussion this afternoon is going to be talking about some of this area. We're also meeting with the diocesan leadership and formation people in the fall at our fall conference. And a lot of that can be kind of fleshed out at that point in time. Yeah, as our role expands, we're probably going to be seeing a lot. It's kind of one of those areas where it can be quite, how do you expand the role within that without impinging on the authority of the people that are in leadership now. And that's always been one of those balancing questions that on the surface may look straightforward, but is much more difficult to kind of nuance. But we are looking at that question, and we're looking at that question very, very seriously, which is one of the reasons why we're having the meetings or the discussion this afternoon, and one of the reasons why we're meeting with the diocese in the fall. I don't know if that answers it or not, but.
And we had hoped to have some of this discussion last year at the fall conference, but we ended up having to cancel it, so it has postponed those discussions, unfortunately. But thank you for bringing that, because it is a concern for a lot of us, I think. Any other members' concerns that they'd like to bring forward? Yeah, I think that's an excellent idea. We would have to figure out how to do that in an organized fashion. I have suggested to Linda that maybe we could leave it here for a little while, because I've had it since the last conference, which is a year ago, and it is a lovely banner. It seems a shame that, it's not available all the time, but perhaps maybe if you had it here for, I don't know, a month, maybe, does that make sense? And then, and what church are you with? Yeah, what's that? Yeah, so we would have to find a way to, so maybe what we'll do a monthly is, maybe we could just send something out on the listserv to see, does that make sense? To see if somebody would be interested in having it in their church for a month and try and circulate it, and Gail has something to say. Oh, sorry, yes, yeah.
But I think you covered that.
Yeah, it was just about the banner and circulating it among the churches, which is really an excellent idea. And it's very portable, so much more portable than the previous one we had.
Even for those who are present, if you want the banner in your church for a particular Sunday or a special occasion, by all means get in touch with the association, anybody on the executive, and we'll make sure the banner is with you.
And your name? Linda Townsend, okay. Yes, and we will try to send out a regular message just to remind people that it is available to be circulated, because, once we leave here, everybody kind of forgets about those kinds of things, so we will try to do that, and it would be nice to have it circulated to a few of the churches.
The only thing, it brings to mind a certain responsibility on the part of each parish to take possession, and also to make sure that the next parish gets it. We don't want this ending up in a storeroom somewhere. It has to, I get your point, so we'll have to have a rota and make it, and if we look at the diocese, like give it to somebody, and then who's next down the road would make it work.
Yes, and we would have to keep a record of where it is. I mean, we wouldn't want it to go missing.
And if there was a diocesan event happening, for example, an ordination or something along the lines of a special services at the diocese, it would have to go back to the association pretty fast. So just to be aware of that. And normally the banner was held under the watchful care of the president. So we'll kind of let you, or the parish where the president was located.
So how come the vice president had it for the last year?
So I just got chat exactly what you just said.
David said the same thing.
Yeah, okay.
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 Thank you, David.
He's here in spirit. Okay, so we can discuss that at our executive meeting too, and figure out a plan, we'll go forward for that. Is there anything else? Any other members' concerns? It's a great discussion. I would just like to say that I thank everybody for their patience as we were getting ready for this meeting. We were all fairly busy, so I know there were a lot of emails that came out and some changes, but I appreciate you all being here, and we are all volunteers, so it's a bit of work. So if there is nothing else, one more for members' concerns? No? So I guess a motion to adjourn? Okay.
Thank you, Dennis.
Dennis, you've been waiting for that, haven't you? And we will close with the grace.
And the love of God, and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit, be with us all evermore. Amen.
What time is it? So we have a few minutes before lunch, so
What time is it?
I think lunch is at 12. Let me just check my schedule. It says 11 a.m. meeting followed by lunch, so I think they'll be coming around 12 with lunch. So great time to network for a few minutes.